and welcome back to our second conversation for this morning.
Right.
If you're joining us right now, we are coming into Women's Month and the Festival of Arts, and of course here to talk to us all about these wonderful initiatives and events is none other than the director of the Institute of Creative Arts, Kim Vasquez.
Good morning, Kim.
Morning.
And how are you today?
I'm well, thanks.
I've got to say,
She
loving
looks
the outfit.
vibrant.
Yes, loving the outfit.
You look vibrant. You
Thanks so
look
much.
happy.
Okay.
Is it because Women's Month is upon us? Festival of Art is upon us?
Exactly because of that. There are just so many good things happening in the month of March.
Well, I know the last time I saw Kim, she said, I need to come and talk about Festival of
We'll
Art.
have to.
All right, cool.
Yes.
Tell me.
Okay, where do we want to start? Do we want to start with Women's Month? Do we want to start with festival? Because
come
one
first.
is right. Well, in Belize we don't celebrate International Women's Day. We celebrate Women's Month,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And it's also Child Stimulation Month as well,
Yes.
right? Ministry of Education, our ministry. We have a full month of both things happening. Women's Month actually will start off on the last Sunday of this month here with an ecumenical service at the Bliss Center for the Performing Arts. That's all the partners across all of the organizations and of course the public as well.
Yeah.
And we're pleased to host that. That is being coordinated by the Office of Special Envoy for Women and Children, Mrs. Rosanna Briceño, in partnership again as well with the Council of Churches, led by Pastor Suzette Masaya. So that's the start of it, an ecumenical service. Of course, we have Women in Art, which is a big program for us at the Institute of Creative Arts. And this year we are looking forward to expanding. You know, last year we were re-emerging. Yes. We said re-emergence, coming back out of the pandemic. Well, we're done emerge now.
We're out.
We're out. We're back outside, yeah. So we're going outside literally. We're going outside to Southern Foreshore. We want to have what we call sisterhood, which is our take on the whole pop-up scene in Belize.
Yeah.
We're going to have a fashion and design marketplace out there.
This is so nice.
And you're going to start out there in front of the sea and then make your way inside to the Bliss lobby. There'll be food. We'll have DJ Fire Gal, female DJ. Music performances by all female musicians. Female steel pan players, all women. And then that is going to be a part of it as well. But we start off, before I get ahead of myself, with the main event, which is the art exhibit on the 16th.
Okay.
Right?
That's on the 16th of
March, right?
Yes.
So Women in Art this year is a 3-day event. It's from the 16th to the 18th. And it starts with the visual arts or the arts exhibit, the launch of that. Of course, you know, we always do something dynamic and explosive as well for that. And then we have the launch of the exhibit in the Belize Gallery. And then on the Friday, now this year our theme is Women's Work, Balance and Equity for Wellness. So we are focusing a lot on our health as women creatives, including mental health. A lot of times as women, if you are self-employed as an artist or a creative entrepreneur, your health will come last. It comes last for many people actually.
Yes, it does.
Right.
So, you know, their maternity leave, non-existent. You will go back to work right away. You know, if you get sick, you know, or sometimes we sacrifice our health. And that's what we want to talk about when we talk about balance and equity. You know, and we want to be able to capture that word equity because the theme for Women's Month is embrace equity, right? So we want to talk about that healthy balance between your creativity and your well-being. And so we have on the Friday, we have an activity that is open to the public and creatives as well. We have Artist Gala. She's going to show us how we're going to come together, and she's going to do a little talk on mental wellness and using art to alleviate stress and for the process of discovery. On the weekends right now at the Bliss, she has these sessions where she's doing art journaling, a very gentle activity for adults and children to be able to, again, find a way to express yourself and to find yourself using art. And then on Saturday is when we have our close off with the Sisterhood Fashion and Design Marketplace in front of the Bliss and inside of the Bliss. And the beauty of that is that if you did not get to see the exhibit, it will run throughout the month of March. But of course, while you're there visiting the Sisterhood, you'll be able to go upstairs to the gallery and see the exhibit again.
I want to highlight women in art.
Yes.
I think that is a beautiful thing.
It is.
To have come around. I also, while you spoke on it, because there are a lot of women right now who need a place to channel how they feel.
Yes.
During the pandemic, or the height of the pandemic, when a lot of people were actually inside, mental health became the issue.
Yes.
But we were on here as well, and we spoke about ways of how you could actually try to segue from that.
Right.
And art was one of those.
Of course.
And I'm sure within the past 2 years, there are a few women who might have just put paint on canvas and want to showcase that.
This is exactly it. So there is an open call this year. Okay. There's a call to established artists, but we really made an effort to publicize the call because up and down, right, we want to see anybody. Don't feel like, oh, I've never exhibited before, I've never had my work in a gallery, so I cannot submit and be a part of Women in Art. And remember, our call is for all the arts.
How if I feel like my work is not on par?
Submit it anyway, right? Submit it anyway, right? We are excited to have Gilvano Swayze curating this year. No, I will tell you, he is the only male to ever curate Women in Art. Okay, he was the first curator, and then we had a string of brilliant women curating for many years. And last year we invited him to speak for Reemergence, and we said, okay, we were make a man talk, and we put him on the program to give us and he was honored to do that, and he says, he remembers fondly that it is always a pleasure and a joy to curate Women in Art, because you have this mix of women at different stages in their art career, or even if they're not thinking of art as a career, but just as a means of self-expression. And so to put all of that and harness a vision is inspirational, I guess, for him, and he enjoys it. So we're excited to announce that he is the curator for Women in Art this year. And I know that he will put together something really spectacular.
I've got to say, though, April, you primarily with Gilvano, this is a together situation. I'm so glad that you actually put him there to speak on it, because together we can go far.
Yes.
But one of the most touching things for today for me is April mentioning that art is not on par. And that is what makes it beautiful. and I'm grateful for that. No, seriously. Because what happens there is that some folks might come out and says, exactly. So I feel like my work is not on par, but that is what we want to see.
The only thing we ask is that you be original and authentic. That you don't, you can take inspiration from the internet, but you acknowledge if you are inspired by whichever respective artist you got that inspiration from. But I want to challenge the artists that are participating to not look at the internet, to just go within your own surroundings, your own environment, your own life, within your own self, and find your inspiration for whatever pieces you want to submit. I also want to say that there is a space for all creatives. The call is open, and we don't worry, we want to make you fit. We will put together this canvas of visual and performing arts. So the call is for musicians, it's for fashion designers, it's for writers and poets. We want to have, last year we did this on a small scale with the publication. We have Voices of Sisterhood this year. We're bringing back the publication, the digital publication. But we plan to have World Poetry Day as the day when we actually do those readings in the libraries. Because last year we did not have the ability, again, to actually have the readings of the poetry and the short stories. And we did have over 20 submissions last year.
Wow.
And so we are planning to also begin the month with a writer's circle that will help to support. Again, we're trying to create this nurturing and supportive environment of women creatives. And so even before or while they're working on their final touches for their poems or their short stories, we will have online writer's circle. And then, like I said, a part of the Women in Art exhibit will be the launch as well of the publication for poetry and for creative writing.
This is beautiful.
So, you know, there's going to be music, there's going to be dance. We are looking at having, a guest performance on the veranda as well for the exhibit opening. So we always do something very rich and very diverse for Women in Art. And it is for us an important program because I will tell you, if you go on social media, male artists are still far more visible. It is still very much a man's world.
But why do you,
still very much a man's world.
I'm there with you. I'm there with you. But why do you think this is when it's open? Is it the support given to men or lack of support for women? Why do you think that?
Because women, if it is not like a area like dance, that is very much, okay, only women for dance, and we don't even want to get into that mentality, right? If it is not something like that, it is always seen as you must sacrifice something else to do that. A man can embrace living the life of an artist and nobody bats an eye, right? But a woman, it is still always seen as just a hobby, as just something on this. This is still largely the mindset that women creatives face. That is just a hobby for you. Your family and your home must come first. And again, this is what leads to some of the issues that we want to be able to explore in that mental health session. That's why some female creatives struggle with mental wellness, with mental health. Because then how do I find this balance that I must be a mommy, or I must have a day job, or I must work all hours at my call center and excel in that? And then where do I find the space for the art that is in me? You know, myself as an administrator, where do I find space to create plays or to make films, right? I mean, is it that I must sacrifice one or the other? And if I try to do both, I am looked upon differently as a woman. A man can have many different hobbies. He can have a day job and be an executive and be a cycling, and that is seen as something that is lauded, yes, you know. But for women, we still struggle to find that balance and to find acceptance.
So how do we? I'm hearing you here, and April, no, I'm a feminist.
Yes,
I'm a feminist.
Yes, you're a he for she.
Because we must understand the importance of togetherness, and that is always my breakthrough. I listen to everything that says yes, we're doing women for women and women for women and whatnot. But at the same time, how do I bring this down or trickle this down to my young men so that they can come up knowing that it is togetherness?
Together,
who are we? Or who should we, direct these things to?
To both men and women, right? Again, you know, when we talk about, and that's why I love the theme this year, equity. You know, we didn't say equality.
Equity.
We're talking about fairness.
One of my favorite words.
Yes, right. It's a powerful word, and I think that we need to move together. I can remember last year when we were just really bringing back Women in Art as a proper exhibit, because 2020 was completely virtual and very small. And I saw a very, what we would call an emerging artist from a rural part of Cayo. I think she was from Benke. And the artist Kelvin Beiser, we know him as one of our leading Belizean artists. She had put up her piece that she was sending. And he went and he said something nice there. And that meant the world to her. She said, depiction, painting, you know, he commented and he said my art looked good. That is how you be a he for she, right? That is how we, you give that support to her, right? You share her work, because I have this space, I have this established platform. Let me remember my sisters in art that are still trying to get to where I am. And let us also, as our sisters ourselves, remember that there are sisters coming behind us, that we also need to hold their hand.
I love that wine and art situation, and at this particular point, especially for the month of March, I challenge all these places that highlight their wines and stuff like that to highlight sister in painting or sister in art, sisters in art, and have their wine night and just go on out there and have husbands come along or boyfriends come along to watch how important and what happens when a woman puts her mind on a canvas and then take them all. Oh my
you
goodness!
Are really a he. He's really a he.
That's the way it is.
I attended the art exhibit last year, the Women in Art exhibit. It was beautiful. It was beautifully showcased. What are you expecting this year I know that we're outside completely and all of that, but that was a large audience that you had last year.
Yes, and we expect very much the same, right? What we did know before we even started planning this year was that we are seeing an explosion of craft, of handicraft, of creative entrepreneurs, whether it is handbags or crochet or jewelry using different materials, and everybody one look different and everyone look creative. And so we really wanted to say I bounced that idea early off of Gilvano, and he immediately said yes, they need to have their own space, give the handicraft their own day, their own way in which they can earn some sales and also draw the crowd up to the gallery, because many people don't know, but the pieces are actually on sale. I would say when we have women in art, that 90% of the pieces,
they're for sale.
They're for sale.
Another highlight I want to make.
Last year I had to stop myself because you want to buy everything.
But and then last year it was not just paintings, but it was different exhibitions of art. I think there were clothing, earrings, and so forth. And I gravitated to the earrings because to me that's the material that you're buying, right? But the art pieces were also for sale, and each individual artist was there explaining to you more about it if you had questions and so forth. Some art speaks for itself. Some, of course, you have to visualize it a little, think about it a little bit better.
And I think some of them got, because again, you might look at this piece and I remember one artist having a discussion that went something like this: I like this piece and I want bite, but I want two pieces. Of course, I could compliment, I could give it too small.
Yes.
It is a way for them to get sales. So when you see the art, remember, that it's nice to look, but it's better to buy.
I appreciate that, but I know time is of the essence. So we spoke about Women's Month. We spoke about Women in Art. Festival
of the Art.
Yes. Ghana, again, I could remember 2020, some preschools were already underway preparing their costumes and everything when, COVID shut down everything. And, we've tried to do virtual, we've tried to do a couple things, but
it's nothing like being on the stage and seeing them for yourself.
In the process of Festival of Arts at the district level. And then you come to your district finals, or what we used to call district golden night. And then
I used to love it, man, I swear.
But it's coming back.
It's
coming back.
So talk to us about the planning process.
The planning process is that, we've said that you all know the history of Festival of Arts. It had its golden era all the way back in the 50s, all the way up to pre-independence. Then it went dormant. Then Beverly Smith Lopez revived it as a children's Festival of Arts. And so then it was revised that way, and so the rubrics and the guidelines and everything were a little bit dated. The arts has changed.
Oh yes,
children have changed. Children are doing and are expressing themselves different ways, and we also recognize too the need for us to be more inclusive, and again, focusing on a holistic approach, and that you are. I want to say gentle, I will use that word, that the arts is also seen for children as a way to build confidence and a healthy mind and a healthy body. Right?
Expression, freedom of expression.
And so when we're looking at revising and bringing forth a new preschool Festival of Arts, we're looking at a preschool Festival of Arts that is first and foremost enjoyable for teachers and children, right? I met with the coordinators online in a series of 2 sessions last week. I think it was. And that is the main message to them, is that nobody forgets stress out for Festival of Arts, first of all, right? And we want that first experience in the performing arts to be a fun one. We don't want to get scarred and never come back to Festival of Arts again, right? And so we're also looking at ways in which we can revive certain areas of Festival of Arts that were as well going dormant, the arts and craft for children, and we talk about, again, you know, a more inclusive approach to the arts and craft activities. You know, children should feel proud. No one should feel that my handicraft that I made was less and Johnny's was selected and to be showcased, and mine didn't get to even showcase. It didn't even leave my classroom. You know, no.
You want everybody to be included.
Right, and that, you know, right. I'm not, you know, we will still adjudicate. We will still give gold, silver, and bronze, and we will still have the nationals and everything. But even at the district level, even at the classroom level, we are trying to look at a Festival of Art that nurtures your interest in the arts and doesn't make you feel afraid to participate and to express yourself. So we are excited to have Preschool Festival of Arts across the country.
When does it start?
From the 20th to the 31st of March. That's the kickoff of the season. And then we know that the entire month of May, or the half of May, will be for secondary and primary. And then we come into the first week of June with the nationals at the Bliss Center for the Performing Arts.
Sweet.
Yes. And this
I love
year, we want to ensure that, you know, the nationals as well, that when you come to the nationals, that, you know, you are leaving again with another award. That's where you get your big trophy, your final recognition. So, you know.
What do you have to say to parents who think that the arts in general, not just Festival of Arts, are... They're not a...
it's not an interest point.
Not an interest point. That why should I encourage my kid to be a part of this?
Yeah, because it supports. And but we need to drive home that message that children that participate in the expressive arts don't do less well in academics, they do better, right? It is the perfect match, and that we have always said that the Festival of Arts is meant to complement whatever work is done in the classrooms, not only in the expressive arts, but that teachers have always seen ways in which they can use art in social studies, in maths, in language arts. So, you know, it's art is something that transcends. And even if you are not thinking of a career in the arts, what you get from the arts preschool to secondary and beyond will stay with you for life.
Look, I'll tell you what,
it becomes a fabric of your character. There are things that you may not even think about. And like I said, things like confidence and your core and your ability to listen and empathy. All of these things come from being involved.
Listen, if you could go up on that stage and do that, right, and be so happy and confident with yourself, you will grow up to create speeches, presentations, all of that jazz that people are afraid to do.
And finally, with that, is that it also gives you a path. It starts you with a career. I'll tell you why. I did Festival of the Arts.
Of course you did.
And there was this song, it just come out, it's back in the 90s. It was Samudi Guyon, a song from Andy Palacio and Hoopa Curly. And I was Hoopa Curly.
Of course you did.
And, you know, and I did Festival of the Arts so many different times that I started to I was able to express myself and going up on stage. And then now it's a lifestyle for me that I'm able to go up on a stage, not feel nervous, yet entertain a crowd and get paid for it. So, you know, this is a great way for parents to understand that it brings out the best in you.
It allows you to find your voice.
Exactly.
Right? And when we say your voice, we mean your personality. And like I said, even if you never go up on stage, imagine you never went up on stage, but you were able to walk into a boardroom or to walk into a meeting, and you are able to just have that confidence, and you know that you're able to express yourself, you know, and to speak well. So that is something that is very underrated, and sometimes we don't realize that yes, we got that from the Festival of Arts, and we have had many people. Your experience is many people say, Miss Kim, the festival have to come back, it can't dead. Because I remember when I was in, and they will tell you their Festival of Arts story. You know?
Let me ask you this, because, you know, back in the day, like you mentioned, it started way back in the 50s.
Yes.
And then when it got to the 80s, around there, it got dormant.
1979.
What caused the dormancy of the Festival of the Arts? When we know how the importance of it.
I'll try not to give you the controversial answer, but I will say that the atmosphere leading up to independence was sometimes tense. Yes, and a period of with change and growth, there is sometimes difficulties and challenges, and sometimes things go through this natural cycle where they have. It's sometimes just the nature of things, I think. I like to focus on the fact that it came back.
Exactly.
And that whenever I think of Beverly Smith Lopez, the first thing I think of, and I know many people think of her in different ways, and Dodo Darling and thing, but you know, many days I look at her portrait at the Bliss, and that is what I think of. I think of her desire to revive and to bring back the Festival of Arts for children. And thank God we still have it, you know, and we are doing everything we can to ensure that we keep it fresh and keep it modern, and that it also speaks to culture. That's another emphasis, that's another strand that we're putting a lot of focus on this year, even at the preschool level. We have always had a category for folk and traditional in dance, but this year we're making sure that language so we want to see the poems and the skits in Garifuna, in Yucatec, in Quechua, even at the preschool level. And we had this before. We've had songs and so, but what we're doing, we're giving emphasis by putting a special category, right? So we have indigenous languages as a category across the festival.
I could hear it.
I could hear it. For preservation.
So very important for preservation. You can write your own. And some teachers do that fantastically, or you can interpret and translate your own. You can, take a song from Miss Leela, take a song from another artist, and you can translate that into one of the languages.
Well,
you know,
I would want to hear a thief hold the man in a picture. I want to hear that.
Okay, so Women in Art and Women's Month is from the 16th to the 18th, and then Festival of Arts begins March 20th.
Right, countrywide.
Countrywide.
So now we know. Kim, this was a great visit.
Great conversation.
Yes.
Thank you so much for
really,
stopping
really
by.
Yes.
Come back again.
Please. Let's continue to highlight these women, especially women in art, and hopefully some wine house jump on board and we start with this and and then we actually go into these places to highlight them as well. And so that's how the coincide situation happens, no? And just to say.
You just to say. But Kim, thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for being a he for she.
Of course. I'll always be. I got lone daughters, by the way, I just to say. No? But anyways, it was a great time, Kim. Thank you once again. We're about to take a break. When we come back, Ras Indio is going to be
Bed
in
of Roses.
He's going to be right here. This tomorrow perform for we. He's got a new music. Lots going on when we come
back. Stay tuned.